Most of the guys in this room have had the unsettling experience of walking into a room full of people, eyeing the other guys and wondering, can I take those guys? The women laugh. They wonder, can we beasts really be like this? But I suspect there are not a few of us today who walk in here seeing high-status people and size them up. Or am I going to be a victim? Where does this come from? All behavior and the ways we make meaning of experience derive from both nature and nurture. Beasts that we are, we also have a capacity for conscious reflection and for making behavioral choices. But woven into our body's cells and scripted by evolution into how we respond to the hormones that course through our veins are some predetermined behavioral tendencies that differ by sex that we ignore at our peril. We males have a particular built-in need to locate ourselves in a dominance hierarchy or pecking order in every relational situation. In childhood, our genetic heritage affects the major challenges boys must face: forming and sustaining life-giving relationships, maintaining a sense of personal potency, finding fulfillment within and outside the family, school and place of worship, and coming realistically to terms with the limits of one's capacities. Deriving from my research on male development, I believe that there are 5 essential elements in earlier life experience that make for strong and admirable male character. I will list them and give some thoughts about how this foundation applies to the issues of the day for boys and young men: lagging behind and failing in school, drifting into unproductive or criminal adulthood, violence, and irresponsible fatherhood. First and most important, a male in childhood needs at least one adult in his life who is crazy about him, who will, through love and sustained involvement, assure him of his worth, and who will always respect him and give priority to his needs and views, and who will advocate for him when needed. This person, or even better, persons, need not be a biological kinsman. Think for a moment about that main source of personal sustenance whom you had. For most of us, it's one or both of our parents, but for many, myself included, our parents aren't or weren't or couldn't be there at critical times. And for us, it's a grandparent or aunt or foster parent or teacher. For me, it was my cherished tuba teacher, William Bell of the Sousa Band, the Barnum and Bailey Circus, and the New York Philharmonic. Second, on this relational core, beginning in earliest childhood, males need to learn words with which to characterize, sense, and express a full range of emotions. In my work on domestic violence, I've been constantly struck by the extraordinary absence of effective sensibility in abusive men, most of whom would not recognize a feeling if they were to run into it on the sidewalk. Why should violent men not sense emotion? It's because it's been forbidden to them, both by how they were brought up and because of the rage, anxiety, and most of all, the powerlessness, the inability to stop the unacceptable from happening, associated with witnessing their mothers, their primary source of nurturing, of care, and of love, being emotionally and physically assaulted. In search of mastery and a sense of personal power, they seek dominance in relationships and invulnerability to having their nurturing needs cut off. Selma Freiberg, the great psychologist who wrote the book The Magic Years, coined the concept of word magic. Just as we can show babies and toddlers picture books of kids expressing emotions, we can help boys get in touch with their feelings by quite literally insisting that they talk about them and attach words to them. I also believe from my own experience as a musician that performing and listening to music and engaging in other aesthetic pursuits can build one's sensory vocabulary, if not create a harmonious balance in one's life. Third, boys and men need to be protected from exposures to violence. It's a mean, cruel world out there for many, if not most, males. Longitudinal research suggests that aggression is about as stable a developmental quality as is intelligence, and it can start as early as 2 years old. These are the boys who, as you walk with them by a movie marquee have to be pulled away from the violent posters. They become the men who in adolescence continue to see the world as a hostile place and who often misconstrue every social relationship as carrying a portent of threat. Fourth, children and adults can have their lives transformed by the experience of giving back. Not a few of us go into human services because of our solicitude for our ill-loved ones when we were growing up. Robert Coles cites Dorothy Day, the visionary Catholic advocate for the poor, who spoke of the revelatory moment when college-aged volunteers came to see that the helpless help the helpers more than the helpers help the helpless. Service activity builds a deep sense of reciprocity in relationships. A mother in New Canaan, Connecticut, took her kids and some friends one Saturday to clean the home of a disabled person. On Monday, the kids told their friends about it at school and how much they enjoyed it. After getting calls from the other mothers asking if they and their kids could come along the next time, she founded a Kids Care Club. There's now a national network of these. The evaluation of service activities like these show that when parents and children do service work together, the kids' commitment to this activity, based on a growing sense of reciprocity, that we're here because of what others have done for us and that we have an obligation to give back, is the more sustained. Fifth and finally, males need to learn self-control, and inductive discipline appears to be the best way to foster it. I use the term inductive discipline as a contrast to the widely believed in philosophy of deductive discipline, where the idea is that there are rules for kids and rules for parents, and when kids, as they always do, break the rules, parents have to intervene with a punishment. Inductive discipline takes the opposite idea. The notion is that there's a relationship between you and a child you love that at all costs you want to protect. And the task of discipline, taking cognizance of the word root of discipline, disciple, to teach, is through communication to build, and this is the magic word, agreement on the standards of behavior. Punishment is not the central feature of this form of discipline, and spanking, physical punishment of children, is out of its picture. Walter Lippmann, in his 1929 book, A Preface to Morals, noted, "In all the great moral philosophies from Aristotle to Bernard Shaw, it is taught that one of the conditions of happiness is to renounce some of the satisfactions which men normally crave." And in his last great hit in 1968, 3 years before his death, Louis Armstrong, in A Wonderful World, sang convincingly of his belief in the respect for his fellow men and the power of committed relationships. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you."